From beavers the size of bears to super rats eating through concrete. Here's a look at 12 of the world's largest and scariest rodents. 12. Coypu. Did you know that the Louisiana bayou is at war? The enemy is a large rat-like South American rodent known as the Coypu, or more commonly known as the nutria. They can typically weigh up to 20 pounds and are often mistaken for muskrats because both are semi-aquatic rodents that inhabit similar wetland environments. But the nutria exhibits destructive behaviors of feeding and burrowing that'll wipe out aquatic vegetation and irrigation systems, and also displace native wildlife. They were initially introduced to Louisiana in the 1930s with the idea of the rodents providing competition to the beaver fur trade. But nutria fur never really caught on, and many of the animals managed to escape fur farms and commence to breed out of control. Did you know there's an event called Nutria Fest that promotes the virtues of eating the rodent's meat? Now, if you have ever had a nutria burger as such, let us know what it tastes like. 11. Laotian giant flying squirrel. If you think big rodents are scary on the ground, how about these critters that sail through the air? With a total length exceeding 3.5 feet, the Laotian giant flying squirrel weighs around 4 pounds, and that gives it claim to 2 titles: World's Largest Squirrel and the World's Largest Flying Squirrel. This one is native to Laos, as you may have guessed from its name, and it presents something of a mystery, since no one seems to know how many of them actually exist. Like other flying squirrels, though, this large variety has a skin membrane that stretches from the wrist to ankle, which functions similar to a parachute. So they actually glide as opposed to demonstrating self-powered flight, like, say, birds. Now, another species of this genus is called the Namdapha flying squirrel, and it's native to India and was discovered in 1981. But like the Laotian species, there's still a lot to learn about them as well, including the extent of the ranges. 10. Basavi woolly rat. Mount Basavi is located in Papua New Guinea, and it represents the collapsed cone of an extinct volcano. In 2009, a team of scientists explored that crater, which has walls rising up about half a mile, and it was intimidating enough that even local tribes rarely ventured there. The research party discovered more than 40 previously unknown species, including frogs, spiders and insects, a bat, and one enormous rodent described as the world's largest true rat. According to experts, that's the type of brown or black rat found in city sewers, which is quite a comforting thought, isn't it? Measuring 32 inches long and weighing more than 3 pounds, this species is so new that it still has not been given a scientific name. It's distinguished by a thick coat of silvery brown fur, and a captured specimen displayed no fear whatsoever of humans. Researchers think the animal lives within the Basavi crater and can be found nowhere else. 9. Mighty mice. We usually think of rats as being the scariest rodents, but here's a case where mice seem to have developed a taste for blood. Gough Island is an isolated volcanic island in the South Atlantic Ocean. Aside from a weather station operated by 6 people, depending upon the time of the year, the place is basically uninhabited. That is, unless you count a population of invasive house mice estimated at around 2 million. The small savages have come to infest that region, and they've developed a taste for the chicks of the Atlantic petrel, and that is a seabird that is native there. In 2016, experts estimated that the rodents were taking out some 600,000 petrel chicks each year, and that seemed to threaten the survival of several species of seabirds that breed exclusively on Gough Island. Now, isolated regions are not the only places where mice are known to flex their muscles either. Less than 30 miles from San Francisco, Eurasian house mice have overrun the Farallon Islands to the extent that that area has been named the world's most non-native rodent-dense island. 8. Black rats. Now, these are not the biggest rodents on the list, but overall, they might have a rep for being the scariest. These are the rats synonymous with the bubonic plague, or Black Death, that devastated Europe and Asia during the late Middle Ages. And there were pandemics that preceded and followed the one that occurred between 1340 and 1400. The rats carried parasitic fleas that in turn carried the bacterium that causes bubonic plague. Experts say that a big reason why these rats can serve to transmit disease is due to their ability to tolerate so many infectious bacteria within the system. Plagues spread by black rats can still occur today, too. Did you know there was an outbreak of bubonic and pneumonic plague in Madagascar in 2017 that killed more than 170 people? 7. Cape porcupines. This old-world porcupine is native to Central and Southern Africa, and it claims the title of largest extant porcupine. With larger specimens weighing more than 60 pounds, it also ranks as Africa's largest rodent, as well as the 4th largest rodent in the world. Only the capybara and 2 species of beaver rank higher. The best-known physical trait and defense mechanism, of course, is the coat of spines, or quills, that provide a prickly armor against predators. Growing up to 20 inches long, the quills are actually modified hairs that carry a thick plating of keratin. They also contain backwards-facing barbs that make it difficult and painful to remove once it has pierced the skin of an aggressor. Now, that quality also makes porcupine quills ideal for use as hypodermic needles, because that barb serves to anchor the quill in place, making it difficult to dislodge. Now, it is interesting to note that despite the fierce appearance of the Cape porcupine, it generally has a laid-back disposition, spending much of the time foraging for fruits, roots, and bark. But should they be cornered, that critter will lose its chill and turn vicious, charging toward the aggressor to impale it with the quills. 6. Capybara. Now, coming up, you're going to meet some rodents from way back in the day that could reach the size of bears. But today, the largest extant rodent is the capybara. Native to South America, adults can attain a weight of nearly 200 pounds and measure almost 5 feet long. That's a rodent essentially the size of a St. Bernard. And they are said to make great pets, able to get along with dogs, cats, and even horses. However, they can be aggressive, and they have some large teeth that can inflict a serious wound. Did you know that capybara meat is traditionally eaten for Easter in Venezuela and is considered a delicacy there? 5. Castoriadis. Now, there are 2 species of beaver extant in the world today, the North American beaver and the European beaver. While both species are large, the edge is often given to the North American variety because it has a larger documented maximum size at around 110 pounds. But both species today would be lightweights compared to Castoriadis. These extinct enormous beavers were indigenous to North America and lived during the Pleistocene. Growing more than 7 feet long and weighing up to 275 pounds, they rank first in several categories. They're the largest known beaver and the largest rodent known to have existed in North America during the Pleistocene. But they are not considered to be close relatives to modern-day beavers. Now, it's unknown whether or not they had webbed feet or if they were dam builders like today's species. Their incisor teeth were huge, though, at 6 inches, but experts don't think they would have been good for cutting down wood. 2 species of that ancient animal is known, with the fossils of one found only in Florida, while the other, more widespread species, has been located throughout the continental U.S. and Canada. And by the way, if you're into that Ark Survival Evolved game, you may have already saddled up on one of these beasts. Be sure and let us know how that went. 4. Giant Hutia. So, if you thought our number 5 rodent was supersized, just take a gander at this monster. The blunt-toothed giant Hutia is thought to have weighed some 440 pounds, so just imagine rodents about the size of a bear. The fossils have been found on the islands of Anguilla and St. Martin in the Caribbean, and it's probably not a stretch to say that the rodents ruled that territory. There were no other large mammals roaming the region, according to evidence from the creature's fossil records, which date back around 500,000 years. The scientists say that the animals were large and slow, indicating they would have had no fear of predators. And while these creatures were enormous, that great size was not passed down to the modern-day cousins. Desmaris hutia, native to Cuba, is the largest species of hutia today and can weigh close to 19 pounds. Now, that's unnervingly large for a rodent for sure, but pretty minuscule compared to its giant and now extinct relative. 3. Phobarames pattersoni. Now, that's their official name, but the size of this critter inspired the name Ratzilla. They went some 10 feet long and weighed more than 1,500 pounds. and that's based upon a nearly complete skeleton found in Venezuela in 2000. The big rodents were native to the Orinoco River Delta in South America and roamed around there some 8 million years ago. At 1,500 pounds plus, this prehistoric creature reigned as the largest known rodent until the appearance of the critter just ahead. 2. Joseph Fortecazia. So as mentioned, Ratzilla was the largest known rodent until this animal was discovered in Uruguay in 2008. Joseph Fortecazia measured about 10 feet long and weighed an amazing 2,000 pounds. At around 12 inches long, its incisor teeth were possibly used for fighting over mates or for defending itself against larger predators like saber-toothed cats and short-faced bears. So say what you like, there was nothing Mickey Mouse about this massive rodent. It lived until the early Pleistocene, around 2 million years ago. 1. Super rats. Musophobia is a term for the fear of rats and mice. So if you happen to be musophobic, you may have felt like bailing out on this list a bit earlier. Now, we found some stories about rats the size of cats turning up in cities across the UK. In one case, a rat in Liverpool was caught that measured some 2 feet long from nose to tip of tail. Now, while the monster rats have been showing up around Britain, they've also made some appearances in Ireland and in Sweden, where one beast actually chewed its way through a concrete wall and terrorized a family. So, what's causing these rodents to reach such scary sizes? Well, pest control experts say that a major fault lies with us. When households carelessly throw out the garbage, it gives the rats a chance to feast, and to feast a lot. As if that's not frightening enough, experts say that the rodents are also demonstrating a greater immunity to stronger poisons. As the poison-proof rats get used to being fed, they become bolder and start to invade homes, restaurants, food bins, basically anywhere they can chow down. Where they once roamed about the countryside, these rats have settled into the cities, and it doesn't seem like they're going to be leaving anytime soon.